And apart from that, even in the Neuron, there is this very beautiful and simplistic option of, choosing the specific type of question which you want to solve. So let's say in CR, I had a problem in boldface questions. I had an assumption questions. So I used to take 10 hard assumption questions and solve them, 10 difficult boldface questions and solve them. So that specific targeted approach was made possible through, all the interface e-GMAT has. Like if you have taken e-GMAT course, then I can assure you that it is sufficient enough to, the resources are sufficient enough for you to score a perfect 805. I can guarantee that. So don't get lost, in the all the random resources and stuff. So yeah, that's it.
Hello everyone and welcome to another session with me. My name is Dhruv and I'm one of the strategy experts at e-GMAT. Today I'm excited to have with me Ashutosh, who recently scored a fantastic 715. Yes, you heard that right. He saw an overall improvement of 90 points from a 620 to a 715. And if I have to talk about his specific sectional improvement, here goes. His quant improved from a Q82 to a Q88. His verbal improved from a V81 to a V85, and his data insights improved from a DI80 to a DI84, which is 97th percentile. So today, he's here to just help all of us know what exactly happened in that journey, how he identified his issues, and how did he really fix them to reach where he did. So Ashutosh, let's delve quickly into your journey. Let's start with the quant section. Okay.
Sure.
You were at a Q82, which is not a bad place to be in, but someone aiming for a high score like you, of course, it indicates that there are gaps and there is scope for improvement. I have a very specific question at the moment. What do you think were the gaps that you identified initially when you started with your quant preparation?
Okay. So like I come from an engineering background and I had extensive preparation for quants, you can say, throughout, my JEE preparation days, engineering and so on. So naturally I had a knack for it. But so obviously, like since initially I scored 82, so there were a lot of gaps. So I realized that, basic topics I used to forget sometimes, like things like how to calculate the standard deviation and those stuff, mean, median, mode, and what happens to the mean and how they are related and all those things. I forgot those concepts kind of. And another topic was PNC probability. So the type of questions that come from PNC probability is quite varied. So I realized that I need to practice all the types of questions and I need to have extensive practice over that topic in order to like maximize my efficiency in those. So I specifically targeted these things. And apart from that, I used to just regularly used to solve questions and just see if there was any conceptual error or if the error was due to my silly mistake. So yeah.
Understood. Of course, yes, when you are at a Q82, the chances of having more conceptual gaps is very less. The chances are very low, right? Because Q82 happens only when you are conceptually good, and the issues are mostly about either process application errors or the careless errors that you were just talking about. Did you spot any process application errors? And if you did, what were those? And how did you really fix those?
So regarding the process application errors, I think one error was that, in solving a particular type of, let's say, probability sum, I used to apply a longer method to do that. And it used to take a lot of my time. And the calculations got quite messier as well. But then later in the solution, I realized there was a much easy way to do it. So these kind of tweaks I did during my preparation. Otherwise, more or large, by and large, I think there was no, like you said, there were no big process application errors or something. It was mainly silly mistakes or, not reading the question properly and things like that. Otherwise, regarding process application, there was nothing major as such.
Right. While a particular course plays a huge role in really helping students learn new things or fix gaps, there's a very undermined part of learning, which is learning through solutions, right? You just
Mhm.
mentioned that you learned a lot of efficient methods through solutions. So I want to understand from you, how did one e-GMAT questions really help you develop your processes? And what were the quality of the
Mhm.
solutions that really help you understand your mistakes, both on Scholaranium and Neuron, which now has officially had questions also?
So I think, to be honest, the material was really of quite high quality, and the solutions were also, I mean, 99.9% of the times one can just go through them and understand it. You like, I mean, I don't think one, I mean, even if I mean, if it was in such simplistic language that one is able to just understand those by going through, by reading it. Intervention of any third person to actually teach those were quite minimal. And apart from that, the forum option which e-GMAT has in their solution, where we can ask any question to the faculty, that was quite good, because in that we used to we were able to see the questions which other people have asked as well. So almost always it used to happen that whatever question I had, somebody had asked it before. So I did not have to bother asking again and then waiting for reply and so on. So so it was quite helpful to that extent. Yeah.
Right. I was just, of course, tracking your performance and your activities towards the end of your preparation. And I saw that you were extensively reliant on cementing quizzes on Scholaranium, right? I really
Mm-hmm.
want to understand the role that the cementing quizzes played in really fixing your gaps and preparing you for those difficult questions on the test. And what was the objective of really relying on those cementing quizzes for the last stage of your preparation?
Sir, first of all, I would just like to mention the credit of the cementing quizzes idea goes to you, because earlier I used to just, randomly just solve questions, and just randomly directly used to take the sectional marks. And in bulk I used to solve, but due to that, I was not able to really improve, and I was not able to focus specifically on the thing I had to work on. So when you suggested me to do the cementing quizzes, I think it was a game changer in the sense that I was able to focus my energy on the aspect where I lack, so that it could be improved further. So for every section, I think I did those cementing quizzes. Let's say, I in between my CR scores were quite low, so I used to do a lot of cementing quizzes for CR, and those helped. And more, and apart from that, even in the Neuron, there is this very beautiful and simplistic option of choosing the specific type of question which you want to solve. So let's say in CR, I had a problem in boldface questions. I had an assumption questions. So I used to take 10 hard assumption questions, then solve them, 10 difficult boldface questions, then solve them. So that specific targeted approach was made possible through all the interface e-GMAT has, and it. I mean, obviously, I could have done it without it also, but it just made the process quite easier and a lot simplistic. So it nudges you to actually work work in a better way.
Right, right. One last question that I have with respect to quant. Okay, you mentioned that you figured out initially that the problems were initially that you identified were either about uh, not being aware of a more efficient way to solve a particular question or careless errors,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I think out of the two, careless errors is the most controllable kind of a error,
True,
right?
true,
But the most difficult to really curb and improve on,
right,
right?
right.
Because you need to be very conscious, ensuring that you're not
Mhm.
making those errors. And you're not alone. 10 out of 10
Mhm.
students face this issue at some point of time in their
Mhm.
journey. Some face it throughout, some learn to overcome it, some, learn to overcome it to quite an extent, but there are still some traces. Okay. I want to understand from you, what were the efforts that you put in to ensure that you are not repeating as many careless errors towards the end as you were in the beginning when you were at a Q82?
Sir, I think careless errors, I think it's just about the mindset and it's about the attitude. So, one has to improve their attitude towards the exam. And so naturally, I feel that if you start taking things more seriously, then automatically, I think your eyes would start working better. Your ability to read and understand something would start working. Like, it would start comprehending things better. And just through this change, I think all the careless errors can be avoided. So I think I mean I shifted my attitude, to be very honest. Earlier I used to take quant very casually that I have done this thing, so it should be a cakewalk for me and all. But later through mocks and through quizzes, when I realized I was not able to get scores, and the reason for it was careless errors, so it used to feel very bad, and I used to feel very angry, to be very honest, when I did a silly mistake. So that, kind of came like it got personal after a point, that I don't want to do any question wrong, in that sense. But all the things being said, even in the actual exam, like I showed you, I made a careless error. In fact, the very first question. So out of 20 question in quants, I got all 19. I got 19 correct, and the first question I got wrong. So that is why it was Q88. Otherwise, I think my quant score would have been good. So
Were you aware that the first
yeah.
question was incorrect when you were solving it or after solving it?
No, no, sir. I think that's why it's called careless errors. That one is not even
Yeah.
one is not aware
Right.
about it.
Right. Right. Now I'm asking this because sometimes it is sometimes, when students make the very first mistake and they become aware of it,
Mm.
even silly errors
Mm.
are, I mean, people are usually aware that I have missed out on something. It's a very easy question, but I missed out on something. Right. So what happens is that really plays on the student's mind, and then the entire test goes for a toss if the student is not mentally strong, which is why I thought I should ask you. But if you were not aware of it, then it was a blessing in disguise, I believe.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Actually, sir, this thing, like I had in my mind that, if I get even in exam, I am not able to handle any question, then I should not get bogged down and I should not let it affect my further questions. So in quant, it happened actually. I think some 12th or 13th question, I think I was not able to solve properly. So I bookmarked it and went ahead. But I did not specifically let it affect my rest of the performance because I had mentally thought about it earlier. So I think, all the exam day strategies and the things which you are going to do should all be simulated in the mind before that what all things can go wrong and due to that how what all impact could happen. And all those things really help. And like eventually when my con got over, I like came back for review and I solved that question correctly as well. So because I had thought about this thing before, I think I was able
yeah,
to, overcome that thing of making uh, the mistake in future.
understood, understood. Okay, okay. Let's now discuss about data insights because you went from a DI80 to a DI84, 97 percentile, something which really needs to be discussed about, right? Problem with data insights and many people face, um, there are two major problems. One is that uh, there are not enough good quality questions and material and comprehensive courses out there to really help you prepare for DI in the best possible way, like you have for verbal and quant. The second problem is even if you study everything, you've practiced everything, there is still an issue on time management. Okay.
Mhm.
We'll discuss about these two problems specifically. Let's address the first problem. So there are not many good resources out there, not many good quality questions.
Mhm.
How did e-GMAT really help you here in giving you the exposure that you needed to ensure that you had practiced enough and you had solved enough different types of questions to be ready for the test?
Mhm. if I'll be totally honest, I think with respect to the problem which you said, I think both are very real and very practical problems, and I myself faced both of them. And specifically regarding the materials, I think e-GMAT has probably, I don't know, the material was really, really good in terms of comprehensiveness and difficulty level and everything. And more than that, I feel the questions which are framed are they make you they force you to think actually. So let's say for example a data sufficiency question is there, and many a times we think that both the statements are needed to answer the question, but it's like only it could be answered only through statement one or statement two. We fail to check the corner cases a lot of times and all. So with respect to e-GMAT, I think especially the data sufficiency questions really were really quite good. Because it's like they helped me sharpen my mind so that I can use it in the real exam quite well. So yeah, sir. The material wise, I don't think there is a need to go for a lot of resources if one has enrolled for e-GMAT. Then I think if you are able to solve only those questions only, I think you would be able to score much better score than me. In fact, I was not able to solve all. So I think yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you for that. Let's talk about the second problem, right? You also just mentioned that
Hmm.
I wasn't able to solve all the questions because practically, I think the first step, what I tell a lot of my students is the first step is to acknowledge that you cannot really solve all 20 questions, ideally with sufficient time in 45 minutes. Okay, that's the first step.
Mhm.
That is when you really start creating strategies on how will I try and maximize whatever questions I'm solving. What was your time
Mhm.
management strategy when it came to data
Mhm.
insights?
So to be honest, like if one already thinks that they won't be able to solve all the 20 questions in 45 minutes, then they never could, I feel. So I think one has to believe first that they would be able to solve. And so I mean the ambition should be of obviously completing all the questions in the optimal amount of time, because people do that, right? And so that means it's doable. So even in my own test, I was able to complete the questions. But at the same time, obviously it's a challenge because especially the MSR questions and the data sufficiency questions, sometimes they take a lot of time. And I think these days in data sufficiency, the verbal related aspect is also increasing in data insights overall. I feel that more verbal related questions are also coming. So, so they take a lot of time and they are very confusing as well. So, I think I think these are the challenges mainly, but yeah, the solution is pretty straightforward. I think it's just practice, practice, and practice. I think uh, there is no rocket science about it, I think.
Okay. The reason why I asked you this question was because when you try to solve all 20 questions, of course, having ambition to solve all 20 questions in 45 minutes is important,
Mhm.
but doing it in one particular sequence is where people go wrong.
Mhm.
Okay,
True, true,
because
true. 100%, yes.
when you are trying to solve an MSR question, and if that is going to
Mhm.
consume 7-8 minutes of your time, you will
Mhm.
100% be facing issues towards the end on other questions which would
True,
actually be doable if you would have broken the sequence
true, true,
there, gone back, finished those, and then come back to
true.
answer.
Definitely, definitely, sir. Yeah.
Right. So did you like
I
follow
was
such
lucky during my
strategies?
exam set. Hmm. Yeah, I used to do that. Like if a mathematical MSR used to come and it was, multiple tabs and a lot of information is given there. Uh, I used to obviously read it. It's not like I used to just skip it directly. I used to read it. I used to see the questions. And if while solving, I realized that this is going to take a lot of time, then I used to skip those. Like just mark anything, bookmark it, and skip to the next question. Because like you said, in one mock, in fact, I faced exactly this problem that a difficult MSR came and I spent a lot of time and towards the end, easy data sufficiency questions I could not do.
Yeah.
So definitely one should follow this strategy, but one should also aim that they should they should complete in that
Correct.
sense. The
Correct.
sequence should obviously be altered if needed be, but yeah, but completion is a must if you want to achieve a good score. And
Correct.
another thing which you told me that which I think really helped me is that the data insight sections is quite forgiving in the sense that a wrong question is still acceptable, but an unanswered question is not,
Right.
because there is a very heavy penalty when we leave a question in data insight. So obviously priority should be completion, but
Correct.
at the same time, not perfection in the initial attempt,
Right.
right?
Right.
And I think the more we practice, automatically the speed would improve.
Hmm.
So uh, you do a lot of practice, and I don't think time should be ever an issue if you have done sufficient amount of practice.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. Thank you for that. Let us now discuss verbal. You went from a V81 to a V85, a very good improvement there as well. I was going through your data analytics on the portal in your account, and I saw that your hard accuracy for critical reasoning improved from 60%, which is not bad, but for a
Mm-hmm.
715 not sufficient. So it went from
Right.
60% to 82% towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
I want to really understand what were the issues that you had identified when the accuracy was around 60. That okay, this is where the gap is. I need to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do because of which the accuracy then went up?
Right. So I think specifically with regard to critical reasoning, there are two components. One is to know the basic rules of how to solve the question. Let's say if there is an assumption question, then you can pre-think, like as said in e-GMAT, that if the negation of the statement like is undermining the argument, then it would be assumption, and all those rules one has to see. And the second issue is of the timing, because in critical reasoning, one of my major problem was I used to take a lot of time. Like even for hard questions, I used to take 3 minutes, and probably more than that also in some questions. So that was really challenging. The time aspect was quite challenging. And regarding the conceptual part, I don't think I think every student in critical reasoning, they won't have problem with critical reasoning as a whole, but there would be specific areas such as inference question or assumption questions or bold-faced questions which they are not able to get. So I think the targeted practice, one can do it through Neuron and comprehensively go through the solutions. So one would be able to, slowly, gradually improve about that.
Hmm.
So for bold-faced questions, I think it worked beautifully for me. Like initially, I used to get almost every bold-faced question, whatever I have is wrong. I used to get confused. कि क्या लिखा है? I mean, opinion, judgment, or issue under consideration. What are these fancy words? And all those things. But slowly, five questions at a time, 10 questions at a time maximum. I saw the solutions, and gradually it improved. So yeah.
Understood. And about reading comprehension, one common problem that people face is they spend a lot of time in the initial reading when you're reading the passage and then solving the first question,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Was there any
Right.
specific strategy that you used to ensure that your time management there was pretty balanced?
Sir, I used to consciously, keep a track of time when I used to read the passage. So, around the 3 to 4 minutes maximum I used to take to read. So like if it got more than that, then I used to be conscious of this fact that I'm taking more time. So naturally, I think my mind reacted or something, and over time it got better. And another thing is, I think the fundamental skill which is being tested in RC and CR are the same. It's to be able to read something and to make sense out of it. I mean, that's the fundamental thing which is being tested on CR and RC both.
Hmm.
So I think the more both are interlinked in that sense, and the more practice one has. So I used to have a habit of like I still have a habit of reading newspapers daily. So reading and
Right.
understanding something is it was not so difficult for me, but obviously, like when I have to do it in an exam format and all, it was challenging. And also another aspect is that in reading comprehension, uh, one has to read and understand, but it's not simple things one has to read and understand. It's a bit challenging. The passages which are written are not, just normal simple English. It's a tiny bit higher than that, right?
Mm.
So our brain needs to be habituated to read challenging stuff. So don't read something which makes you comfortable, in that sense. Don't just read a book because a normal book, it is written in very plain English. So it doesn't really challenges your mind. Read newspaper articles or maybe solve more of RCs only if you don't want to read anything extra. So that
Mm.
would again like sharpen your mind so that you would be able to develop your abilities.
Understood. Understood. I have one last question about mocks. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, mock is a different journey altogether because you have to integrate all your skills together and put them all together. Okay, which is also a challenge, right? I want to understand from you if you have any advice to the test takers who have done well throughout, now are in the mock stage. What should they do to ensure
Mhm.
that they are translating all the skills that they have developed all together in one mock to ensure that they are getting a good score in mocks as well?
Sir, I think mocks, like you said, are a different thing altogether, and it needs a dedicated time on their own in order to. So one thing I think you told, or I don't know, I have heard that after a certain threshold of score, what score you get, it depends on how your strategy is to approach the exam or to approach the mock.
Right.
So, and that thing can be done the best by, trying out different strategies while during the mock. So, like, just to let all the viewers of this know that when the initial mock I gave, I was not able to, even able to sit for, 2.5 hours continuously.
Mm.
And my brain was completely out in the sense that I was not, matlab, I did not feel like even reading the question. I was so exhausted after solving Quant and verbal in the data insights. I felt like just let. I mean, I don't know how I will do. So initially, if you are also facing such kind of problem, then I just want to know. I just want to let you know that this is a very normal thing to 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 face. But yeah, at the same time, it gets better with time. If you provided you are studying and practicing enough, then it certainly gets better. So yeah, that's one thing. And I used to do this thing in mocks that I used to initially, let's say my order of approaching the sections was initially verbal, quant, and then data insights. But then I realized that, since I am comfortable with quants, so I think I should start with quants because that would get me into a serious kind of a zone.
Yeah.
So I figured that starting with quants worked better for me personally. So like this, just be aware while giving the mock that what are the difficulties you are facing, and be conscious of those and think about how you can overcome them. So these little things actually make a lot of difference. And like if anyone has any difficulties, you can always speak to the mentors at e-GMAT, so they would be able to guide you better. So yeah, I feel the small changes one should observe, the small difficulties one should observe when they are giving mocks, and then think about how to improve them. And I think it would improve gradually.
Thank you so much for all this, Ashutosh. I'm really thankful because you
Sure.
shared a lot of things with a lot of aspirants who must be watching this right now. And I'm sure they'll gain a lot out of this journey of yours. So with this, I'll let you go for
Just
now.
one last thing I would
Yeah,
like to
tell
say,
me.
sir. Uh, so, see, GMAT is a very straightforward exam, as in the process of acing GMAT is very straightforward. It's like you have to watch the lecture videos or the reading material you have. Once you have done that, then you have to solve questions. And if while solving the questions, just make sure that you don't solve more than 10 to 15 questions at one go, because analyzing the question is equally important as solving the question. A lot
Yeah,
of students, I think, solve multiple, they go for solving more number of questions, but it's never about that. Initially, I was also one of those. Like 50 questions solved with good quality is any day 1,000 times better than solving 500 questions and just randomly solving them. And what happens when you solve less number of questions, around 10 to 15 questions at one go, is that after you have completed your 10th question, then when you go back to your first question to analyze, you would be able to remember what you have thought while you are approaching the question.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you solve, say, 25 questions, so by the time you reach 25 questions, you would have forgotten what was your thought process while solving the first question. So you won't be able to analyze it effectively. So
Yeah.
that is why I solve lesser number of questions and just see where you are. So like I said, GMAT was, the process is very straightforward. Watch the lecture videos, solve questions, see where you got wrong, and then try not to make that mistake again. So let's say you have identified 10 mistakes. Obviously, if you give it again, everyone is a human being only. Some mistakes will again be repeated, but most of them won't be. So this simple thing you have to do again and again and again, and eventually results will come. Provided you just trust the process religiously, that's it. And don't think about random strategies, and don't get lost in the ocean of resources available in the internet. Like if you have taken e-GMAT course, then I can assure you that it is sufficient enough to, I mean, the resources are sufficient enough for you to score a perfect 805. I can guarantee that. So don't get lost, in the all those random resources and stuff. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you so
And
much.
talk to your mentors actually. Don't be hesitant in talking to mentors, I think. So yeah. Another is that's it.
Right. Thank you so much for the advice that you shared, Ashutosh. We are really happy for you and proud of you. We wish you the best for our next steps. Please keep us posted on your applications as well, and we are cheering for you.
Sure, sir, sure. Thank you so much. And thank you for the e-GMAT team, and especially to you, Dhruv sir, for your guidance throughout my journey. It was like I don't have any complaints with e-GMAT. In fact, I have a lot of gratitude, and like I'm grateful for all your help. So thanks a lot.
I'm glad. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.